Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Erie County Public Library, and welcome to the show Poetry Live. We've been going on. This is our third show, and I'm excited to keep this ball rolling. Just sort of as a mention before we're going to get started, this episode and every episode is being filmed to be put online, and so just to let everyone know, keep everybody in their comfort range. It's being simulcast right now, so if you're watching it, hello. If you're not, hello later maybe. Again, the library is super excited to host this event. We plan on doing it for the foreseeable future, and we look forward to seeing y'all later. I'm actually going to start today by reading some of my own poetry, and then other people stand up, read their own, we'll sit down. If anybody in the audience does decide that they do want to read their poetry, feel free to come on up. You can do that at any point. You can grab a chair if you want, or you can just come up whenever there's like a dead spot. And that sounds pretty good. Excellent. Well, without further ado, let's move forward. Also, this thing's a lot of fun to play with, so if you get a chance to, totally do it. Okay. I'm going to start with Bus Home from Escanaba. Press your hand against the window in winter. Watch the reflection your face makes over the flashes of evergreens. When a man who looks like my uncle coughs behind me, keep watching. When he sits beside me, hand on my arm, and asks if it is okay, will you become translucent with me, drift into the snow and soak knee-deep? We might avoid frostbite. Ice will form at our edges, the moisture of our frames opalescent. When he leaves, his sweaty hand wiping off on my jacket, ask me to dance with you and fold our way into the dim halo of the city shroud. Thank you. This other one is called What's Left on Leeward Lane. Ash, burnt posts, the ghost of a house on an empty lot, 3 small sheds and a pine. That morning I had wanted to stay home. My own ghost could have slept in for years, past the long rot of my body and the quaking of an old town. Some days I feel like a dream that ghost might have, hours and colors incoherent together into one bright image, a calico torn in half on the Ohio Turnpike, its tail wagging in a storm, is all they remember after waking. Thank you. And I'm going to read just one more poem. We usually like to do 2 poems, 3 if they're all pretty short. So we're just going to kind of stick to that. And here we go. This one's called On the Bayfront. I actually wrote this on the Bayfront out here about a year ago, I think. More or less. Pre-COVID, anyways. On the Bayfront. For the first time in years, I watched the waves and wanted to sink deep into the gray, dark space. Weeds tangled around my ankles, and the spark of silver fish a halo around me. The concrete boardwalk pushed against that water. Had I been alone, I may have gone there, but a man watched his 2 sons up and down the bayfront, each fishing for crawdads, the hot dogs on the end of their hooks melting away as small claws unraveled them, until finally they stuck. They must have caught 9, maybe 10, before the wind, before their father called them to leave, before the goosebumps raised on my legs and I realized that I too was running late. Thank you. And whoever would like to come up next can just come up after me, and that's the pattern. We'll try to keep it going, but if you want to wait a couple seconds to collect yourself, that's absolutely all right.
take it off while I face the audience, but of course, you people at home stay 6 feet away from the TV set. All righty. See if we can't lighten up the moment with a little political poetry. I'm Danny Mitchell, better known as Art Vanguard, the host of the political poetry portion of the program. And tonight I'm continuing on my little project called Write a Poem About Work. I've had 28 different jobs in my lifetime, so I'm going through them one by one, chronologically. The two poems I'll read for you tonight is called, the first one's called Soldier, Helicopter Repairman, and that talks about my life from 18 to 20 when I was in the United States Army. Tells a story. When I write my poems, I first write about the story. I write a story about what the poem's going to be about, and then I take from that story lines that I can rhyme. And this story about being a soldier tells about me joining the Army and getting all these promotions. I was like surprising myself when I got PFC out of boot camp, and then I got helicopter training school, and I got promoted to corporal, and they asked me to stay around for another course, and then I got promoted to sergeant, and within 10 months I was already a buck sergeant, and I was sent to Vietnam. And under those conditions, I was 19 years old, and I was in charge of the company, of the platoon, rather. And we were a repair platoon, and it tells a little story about an officer who decided to go up in a helicopter I had grounded and died and all this shit and all the basic tragedy of fighting in the war and the deaths that happened needlessly. So this one's called Soldier, Helicopter Repairman. I was proud to serve my country in that hour of need, an excuse to leave the family that had stifled all my dreams. To be in charge of my own life was what I needed to succeed. On my own, a new recruit for their imperialist scheme. From boot camp, I could tell that the Army felt a lot like school and I'd get bored. But prep school didn't quite prepare me for all the push-ups and sit-ups I would do. Luckily, I wasn't in that bad a shape at all. I aced all the tests. I was the smartest in the platoon, a feat that even surprised the bleep out of me, so PFC Mitchell would become a helicopter repairman soon. I love this portion of my life, all hands-on training and such. It felt just like working on lawnmowers in the garage with Uncle Bill. He would be proud to see me then. Too bad we fell out of touch. I was an A student, acing every test I couldn't get my fill. And the Army loved me so much that when it came time to leave, they gave me another promotion and asked me to stay a little longer. So I stayed and played with the Cobras, and once again I received a promotion to sergeant, a 30-day leave, and a free ride over yonder. My next assignment was Vietnam, the 1st Infantry Division, put in charge of fixing the aircraft, and at first it was very uplifting. But soon my bubble got popped and I was accused of all sorts of derisions. Some arrogant pilot up and died in a ship that I had grounded by decision. After Nam, I went to Georgia to keep that fleet a-flying. They gave me another platoon of men to oversee their work. No one else died in my aircraft, and I say that without sighing. But I didn't re-up. I knew 3 years was enough Army for this jerk. Thank you. This next one, the next job I had was cleanup man at a bakery where I was. I only worked part-time because I was going to college and I just needed a little money here. This was my uncle's bakery, Uncle Everett O'Brien. So I always call it Uncle Ev, or Unc. Working for Uncle Everett at his bakery was kind of neat. I'd go in after closing to start my nightly routine. I had the key to lock up with a free dozen cookies to eat. But first I had the steel bowls stacked up in the sink to clean. Cleaned the tabletops, sugar and jelly covered every itch. You'd think they'd had a food fight instead of working today. Then flour and sugar bins I'd fill. Back then it was a cinch to lift a 100-pound bag and throw away the empty. The only thing Unc taught me to make was pie crust, and lots of it. In a giant bowl, I'd blend flour and lard, getting it all over my pants. Then put the mixture in the mixing bowl, add eggs and water, every last bit, turn it on and be mesmerized by the way the hypnotic hook danced. 5 minutes later, it's pie crust. Turn it off, clean the hook. Flour the bench, roll out the dough, and cut it into pieces. Fill 100 little pie pans to be used by the morning's cook. Unc used them to make his meat pie, the secret recipe, so he says. They made a full variety of cookies and pies and wedding cakes, birthday cakes, crumpets and scones, and hot cross buns too. But I only made the pie crust, and that's enough for goodness sake. Washing, cleaning, mixing, scraping, I was glad when my night was through. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Todd. I'm actually going to read 3. They're all pretty short. And I wanted to get out of reading Doris every week. So I'm going to read something from a book I just finished. The book's called The Mask, An Honest Opera. And the poem is a short one. It is called Haunted. I live with a ghost. Sometimes I see his reflection in the bathroom mirror, his outline in a freshly polished sheet pan. I feel his cold breath when he passes close enough. Thank you. All right, so now's the weekly dose of Doris. I'm going to be reading part 5 and 6 today. Part 5 is actually a song. I'm going to read it, but when I decide to print the book and get all that formatted, I'm gonna probably have sheet music for the melody went in there. So this is Doris part 5. Doris, 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 don't you want me to sing along with you? A sing along a chew, a sing along a song you know you left me somewhere crying at the county fair. If you left turn right away, you won't have to see me there. I said it and I meant it, and I stamped it and I sent it. You broke my heart in two. Oh, Doris, Doris, won't you let me come in? All right, thank you. Here's Doris part 6. All married to the Atlantic, the Titanic sank and sat about. A lout turned rusted out water spout. Doris, there are no rules to flout, and my maize don't have a taste for sauerkraut. Pissed on and pissed out, I'm no prize fighter, but I'm wired to wild about. I've thought, and I've taught, and I've bought goods from these 3 worlds, and it curls in like a snake. A break in the line where head and tail meet and delete the lie luxuriating in the peat. Nibble away my muscle. Grow corpuscles, and the brine won't let them be. I belong at the seed of the tree, but since the leaves, they're mocking me, stalking me. Doris, explore us, daydream of waking up and talking to me. I breathe in, and the weight upon your skin is the size of a seed. What'll lead it to the secrets that the stars and clouds say? They will borrow from tomorrow, to which the gods pray, Calliope, Calliope, Crocus, and Calais. Doris, darling, did you catch the news cachet? Thank you.
I'm Chuck Joy, and I want to say we're very prompt now. We're taking our cue from the cameraman in the back as this show is being simulcast on the Cam Erie Facebook page and being recorded for the future. So if you come in late and you want to read, you can come up at any time. There's chairs over there if you want to sit up here. It's not necessary. What is necessary is when Patrick comes back and says, do you want to read now? Then you have to read then because we're getting ready to close. But if you want to come up, you know where the chairs are, which is on the other side. I'm going to read 3 poems. And there's been some talk about location in poetry lately. So here's a poem I wrote, it's new, called Great Lakes Location. 3-part poem. 1. That first impulse might be true, more likely an anxious yelp. Breathe. Take several breaths, time to let the landscape settle. Earth appears, the ground, maybe water, a bay, bright sky, puffy clouds. Incorporating as we go, taking the scenic route to Chicago. 2 and 2 is 4. 6 and 2 are 8. Already whistling a ringing solo. That bay, a blue as bold as ever. Blue, the color of salvation. 2. Close your eyes. We're in Geneva on the lake. Don't leave before they pull up their shirts. 1 in every port, including Port Clinton. Sharon lives on Perry Street, her brown cottage across from the park. She reads Mary Oliver on a slotted wood bench. Sometimes a storm blows in from Canada. Sometimes it's you. 3. Fastball, strike 2, Wrigley Field. The International Association sponsoring the game. A few know your face, more your voice. It's a trip when they're talking about you, when they welcome your visit from the big scoreboard. Tonight, it's the Green Mill. Tomorrow, all day at the library. Thank you. Here's another new poem, and it has 2 parts. Sometimes when these poems come close together, there are certain similarities. I don't know. This is called Cooper Road. 1. Brightness to the north-northeast. Blue clouds stopped short. A curtain. We are in my vehicle, my morning commute, a drive I've maintained through all the COVID, combined from opportunity and my choice. I'm grateful. I hope you enjoy what I hear. The Poetry Channel. Do you have that channel? That curtain of blue cloud? The frequencies of these 3 words? A music so complex, you can make a science of it. Some people do. 2. The road ahead yesterday closed for construction it was. Enter suspense. You may remember I had hoped to be early. If you know me at all, you know I wanted to be early enough to manage every advantage, reserving the right to turn left, as Burroughs might have it, but time slips away, and it did. The news was late. The faucet quit. Put down your phone, please, and help me. Can you see Cooper Road? Thank you. Now I'll close. I think I mentioned I intended to read 3 poems. With one from W.S. Merwin. This is from a collection that's marked 2015. I got my copy from the Grolier Poetry Bookstore. And I'd like to read a poem from W.S. Merwin. I'm sure I marked it special for finding it easily here on the poetry stage, and I have done it. This poem is called Convenience. We were not made in its image, but from the beginning we believed in it, not for the pure appeasement of hunger, but for its availability, convenience. It could command our devotion beyond question and without our consent. And by whatever name we have called it, in its name, love has been set aside. Convenience. Unmeasured time has been devoted to it. Forests have been erased and rivers poisoned, and truth has been relegated for it. Convenience. Wars have been sanctified by it. We believe that we have a right to it, even though it belongs to no one. We carry a way back to it everywhere. We are sure it is saving something. We consider it our personal Savior. All we have to pay for it is ourselves. Thank you. W.S. Merwin.
Hello, I'm Nisi. I'm gonna read 3 today. I finally started putting titles on my stuff, so. But this one is related to the pandemic, what's going on, so. Life is all right amid COVID. I really can't complain. With all the world's sadness and the televised madness, I just call upon God's name. I would be remiss not to mention this. Pandemic came with a few things. Some lessons were learned, some bridges were burned, while we all tried letting our freedoms ring. An epidemic collided, and our nation divided. Our leadership pit us at war. All the increased anxieties sparked with massive rioting, and a scene this country has shot before. Violated civil rights turned into fistfights. The disenfranchised organized. Minorities are tired of what has transpired. Now boots are on ground. When will the majority see? We just want liberty and justice for everyone around. Never could imagine or dream of mass quarantine, curfews, restrictions, and sudden deaths. We are all just in line, buying our time behind our masks, holding our breaths. An increase in sharing, and unfortunately the Karens, but overall divine benevolence, race baiting and violence mixed with all the silence of our nation's government. I speak loosely concerning the leaders of our government because as a spiritual being like me, I know where Satan's time is spent. We are the people. We reject degradation as our detriment, and we will only accept reparations as our settlement. A country stolen from natives centuries ago used black and brown labor to make its economy grow. Angered our bordering countries, once considered our sisters, and disturbed the ground of our beloved ancestors. Life will be all right during this world crisis. I know that if I'm left to my own devices, survivors like me can easily navigate this land because my persuasion alone and my DNA can reproduce any man. Got another. I've married my faith, queening since I was born. I work until my uni is tattered and my boot soles are worn. The way they look at me, you would think I was foreign, wondering why I'm in the game and they watch me still scorn. I'm told I dress nice and they watch what I wear, but they never really stop and ask how I got there. I put in long hours all through the years. Everything I own through my blood, sweat, and tears. Not one thing was handed, never take myself for granted. I vibe on Pac and Mahalia Jackson. Every day I belt these anthems. I know the trouble of the world. I'm a peculiar woman. I'm not a troublesome girl. and I can act like I don't even know you. No, I don't mind being shaded. I don't need to be seen. I'm highly motivated when it comes to my dreams. I have one more. It's a little somber. I wrote it last night after just some deep thought and after the news for the Breonna Taylor case. I can't even really fathom, but this one is called We Are Sorry, Breonna. We must ensure that they regret their mistake. We must shout and stomp out the earth and the ground till it quakes. No reason for Queen Breonna's life to be taken this way. Our hearts break about the news of this case every day. Breonna Taylor's story brings America shame. The prejudices in civil rights policymaking is to blame. The people are steady internalizing our pains. Every day we're wearing out what we've lost and what we've gained. Please stop and care for yourselves through this time of righteous anger. We all know in America, Black and brown lives are in danger. The government has chosen to treat us like strangers, while it's asserting that it's a word from a Messiah born in the manger. We rejecting all of these truths of a generalized depiction that all are bad. They're identified as those who fit the description. Police tell us to comply. They say you can trust us, but when they're caught in the lies, they provide us no justice. That's it.
Hello, my name is Mabel Howard. Guess I should take the mask off. So used to this new way of life. All right, so I'm actually going to read two. One, I was inspired when I was doing a little bit of marketing today. They came across my Facebook news feed by Maya Angelou. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly, our eyes briefly see. With a hurtful clarity, our memory suddenly sharpened, examines, gnaws on kind words, unsaid, promise walks never taken. Recently, I've been admiring all the new murals that have been created by the artists in town, and my cousin Antonio Howard and C. Westbrook worked on the Manus mural. So I stopped down to visit them during their, like in the middle of their work, and I was inspired to create this. I'm a fighter, conditioned to take blows. I love you, cuz. Stop by to let you know. It brings pleasure to see you creating another masterpiece. I've intentionally made a way to witness strokes of artistic genius. I am gifted to see one moving, even when they are on break. Physically, this is because a creative's mind does not take its focus off the vision captured inside one's head. I am eager to see the finished piece, a mural that generations will view and then speak. Of the history being created by a balance of powers, one man's life, strokes of four limbs, consistent action until the final gem, brings tears of joy that the neighborhood finally has, a trio of Blacks working synergistically so that businesses and others can now see that hard work and dedication will get you through the test, but it's persistence that will finally lead you to what is known as success. Inspired by the creatives that allowed me to be in the presence of their works.
So is there anybody else that would like to read tonight? If not, that's okay, but you are welcome to come on up. Awesome. Well, I want to thank everybody for showing up, everybody for coming here. We love to see you. We love to hear you, everybody that read. And we encourage you at the library and also just all of us as poets to keep coming back if you want. Watch us online if you'd like. But yeah, thank you all so much for coming. Again, I don't actually think I introduced myself, so I'm Patrick, but I may have. That was a long time ago. Thank you all so much, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.